Hi there, YouTube friends. Been a while since we've had a video on the channel, so I thought I'd take this opportunity with Update 3 dropping to talk to you a little bit about Planet Coaster and where it's at on the channel, as well as sort of do a channel update and say what's been going on in my life. So stick around as we do some time-lapse, including the Western set, the big thing from Update 3, and talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life. I am so glad you are here and decided to watch this video. I'm maskedbandit, and let's get into a discussion today. First off, though, I'd like to give a shout out to Chris and the lovely folks at Frontier for letting me play with Update 3 and to give my feedback here before launch. It's always appreciated when they let me in on this, and I always feel so special. So yeah, thanks a lot, Frontier. Really appreciate it. So the number one thing for me about Update 3 is the Western set is back. You're going to see in this time lapse here, that's exclusively, as much as I can, the pieces I am using just to show you all those lovely bits and bobs that are in there. It includes hundreds of great pieces from the original Planet Coaster game, and I thoroughly underestimated just how great of a set it was. Generic building, man, it is back in a big way. The windows and the doors, oh my gosh, I've missed generic windows and doors. I don't know if I'm ever going to use some of the heavily themed doors in Planet Coaster 2 ever again, now that we have the Western pieces. There's tons of lovely, all the delicious signs are back from Planet Coaster 1. Oh my gosh, so many more realistic beams. The wooden beams, the carved ones, the ones with the different textures. I've missed them. I didn't realize how much I've missed them and how integral they are to just about everything I make in Planet Coaster. I'm loving that there's a simple shingle roof now, along with a tarmac roof, the flat tarmac roof. I think that's a sleeper hit. I really do think that is absolutely a necessity for backstage buildings when you are in that mid to lower budget design, if that is your style. A couple downsides, though, about the set is that there are not any non-gridded versions of the wall pieces. There's no half wall pieces like there are for all the base Planet Coaster 2 sets, which is unfortunate. Animatronics are not scalable, although that is not exclusive to the Western scenery. I don't think any of the animatronics are scalable, and unfortunately there are only those few cowboy animatronics that came with vanilla Planet Coaster 1, not the tons and tons that came with the studio's DLC. So that is my brief overview here, but it is very good to have this set back, and it's going to fold in nicely, I think, especially with, surprisingly, the aquatic to really, I think now Western steampunk stuff is really manageable. There's some nice iron pieces in the Western set that'll play nicely with a lot of the metal textures in the aquatic set. So I think that we're going to see even cooler steampunk and more varied things as we start mashing these different sets together now with the Western set. As far as slides go, I am not a slide guy, but man, if eating Peeps into the air isn't amazingly fun. I did it immediately just to see what the animations were like, and I was like, oh, this is too great. For me, one of the things that's been lacking in Planet Coaster 2 is the charm factor, and I can't put my thumb on it exactly, but something about watching the Peeps fly through the air with their flailing limbs is just so funny and charming, and that's the stuff that always made me love the original Planet Coaster game, in addition to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. In fact, it made me think of a long time ago, Shy Guy's World forums, when Shy Guy was building Water World, and he built slides where people were yeeted off and landed in a pool across the map, and the Peeps rode it, and they ride them now as long as they land in water. At least the one I built they love. It's so cool. The rafts reacting to your designs now that they aren't on a fixed track, honestly, makes building slides a lot more interesting. With the raft in test mode, I actually had to watch what I was doing because a couple times it got really close to the edge. I did not try to see if my design choices would kick the raft out. I assume it will. That's supposed to be the whole point, but I have not tested it yet. But considering they yeet out of the end of flumes, I'm sure they will also do it out the sides of slides if your lateral Gs are too high. Also think the deformation of the tubes, especially the larger tube raft as it goes down the slide, is really nice. Like, it looks really good. I think all of these together are a great step in the right direction, and I think it does make water parks a lot better and a lot more enjoyable to build. There's also some new career sandbox maps, so you can start your sandbox not on a blank green field, which for some people is absolutely overwhelming. I very much appreciated to have these maps in the sandbox menu now. However, I do find them to be kind of small and maybe a bit overdeveloped or overdesigned for realistic players. Kind of like the scale of the terrain is far too great for the area that you have. It's almost fantastical in some of these, but nonetheless, the time lapse that we're doing here with this video is being built on one of the maps, and it ended up being pretty fun. I think for those of you who were excited playing through some of the scenarios and wanted those maps, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. As far as the additions for rides, I did not play with the 2 standard coasters, but they are already coasters in-game, just with different generic design trains. They look great to me. I don't know, I'm not a coaster expert. I know some coaster experts will always find things that are wrong with them, but for me, it's good enough. The Vector returns, the SLC, the suspended looping coaster. I was shocked when it wasn't included in the original game, and honestly, it's nice to have it here now. It really feels like a pretty obvious exclusion when the game dropped, and just making the game feel a little more rounded out and complete, and that's never a bad thing. When we get to it, mine that I'm building is garbage. I know it is. Don't judge, okay? There's custom audio for rides now for PC players, and that's fantastic. There's lots of other tweaks and fixes regarding the economy, staff management, things like that. But as a sandbox player, most of it kind of goes over my head, and I don't pay much attention to it. Staff members will still leave on breaks, and if there is no one to replace them, the ride will still shut down. That did happen to me as I was building this. So I just go in and I turn off their breaks. I don't give them breaks. It's tedious, but it's the only thing I can find to do right now. If that's not right, please let me know in the comments below. There are also tons and tons of bug fixes. Far too many for me to name here. Check out planetcoaster.com/updates for all the important info. I mean, it is just an absolute laundry list of bug fixes. And that is an absolute speed run of the big things in Update 3. I'm sure by now you know what they are anyway. Just giving you my thoughts on it. So I want to take a minute now to talk a little bit about my channel and what's been going on with it and what you can expect in the future. So we've had kind of a lack of content, if you haven't noticed. I'm sure you have. A combination of burnout and honestly disappointment with the game's launch. Kind of wasn't pleased with the way the game. It was fun at first, but the more I played, the more frustrated I got with it. And I did play a lot, and eventually it just stopped being fun. I was frustrated and have been frustrated coming to grips with all the new bits and the tweaks and the way it works and how it feels like it's designed for console, but even console players aren't very happy with it. It's still in that, I mean, that's something that's baked into the base of the game. It's getting better, but it has been a bear to work with sometimes. I've tried several times in the last few weeks to build things, but I just wasn't having fun. I actually said out loud the last time I was building, I'm just not having fun. So I closed it and I went and I did something where I was having fun. I mean, this new update is great, and it's made me realize that I think the actual burnout is far more of an issue than anything. More so than the shortcomings of the game itself. That being said, nothing on my channel when it comes to Planet Coaster 2 is ever dead, and I'm never gone unless I say so, but I can't promise regular updates, and I'm going to make sure I try not to promise regular updates, because it's just not in my wheelhouse to ever do that. So let's talk about project specifics. The SpongeBob water park, yeah, it's still going. Don't worry, it's not going away. I almost have enough ready for a new update. Honestly, that project got way bigger than I anticipated, and especially for someone who isn't into water parks. It's like, why did I start with that? Honestly, it's the most content-y thing I've ever done. I figured it would be a great way to get eyeballs on the channel, and in a lot of ways it absolutely was that, but then the expectation was, we'll keep giving us the SpongeBob. And I love SpongeBob. I hope you can tell from all the love I've poured into that project, but honestly, water parks. I built the water park because I thought that would be what would be the most valuable upon initial release. I never had planned it to last as long as it has and as long as it will, with all the things I wanted to put into it. And even though water parks are not my jam necessarily, I am enjoying what I'm doing in it, and I will finish that project. In fact, if I have to guess, that's probably going to be the next Planet Coaster 2 content you see on the channel. As far as Beginner Heights Amusement Park, our tutorial series, I was so appreciative of the response you all gave in the first episode, and your comments, more, were fantastic to read, and it got me excited, and I poured a lot of time and effort into episode 2. Unfortunately, the views of episode 2 and 2.5 did not match what the comments of the original video said. These videos in the Beginner Heights series take a lot longer to make, and the return on investment, not to be crass, does make it harder to prioritize these videos, simply because tutorials in their inherent nature are made for others more so than for me. And I do love teaching about the game, but I mean, it was really kind of disheartening that the last 2 videos paled in comparison to the first. I do appreciate your comments, though, and how helpful it has been for you. I'm glad to hear that. So yes, there will be more, but I don't know when they will be, nor can I promise when they'll come out. As far as other plans for the channel, yes, more Planet Coaster 2 content. Maybe we'll include a friend or two. Bro Coaster Season 2 is on hold as far as I know. And any games that I choose to play that aren't Planet Coaster 2 will most likely not make it to the channel, because nobody likes those anyway. What am I up to at the moment? I'm up to Civilization 7, playing a lot of that. Speaking of, kind of frustrated at new game launches. The last year or so, City Skylines, Planet Coaster, and now Civilization all kind of launched incomplete and just did not feel good. Felt like we're trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but in reality we have a bird and a cheetah. And you just can't, with the whole console PC building at the same time. It's really, I feel all 3 of those games have really kind of suffered with trying to do too much and release prematurely. Just straight up, really frustrated about that. I'm also still playing D&D. And honestly, we're about to finish a campaign this summer, and I'm planning to play in another one. And D&D, if you don't know, is a massive creative time suck, and it does require my full creative attention when I am in charge, which I have been, honestly, since July. So I've been double dipping into that creativity, and that's probably also why I got so burnt out with Planet Coaster 2. All that being said, I do really love reading all of your comments. I love hearing all of your feedback. I appreciate your views. I appreciate you continuing to tune in and your support over all these years, even if I take breaks. And what's crazy is we are so close to 20,000 subscribers. That's an insane number I never thought I would reach. And it's all because of you lovely viewers. So I know it's been a while since I've had content. The stuff is coming. It's in the pipelines. I'm starting to get that itch to play some more. Honestly, we did content from June all the way through to February, January? That's a long time for me to have regular content. So take a look back at previous stuff if you still want to see Planet Coaster 1, man. Conifer Slopes is where it's at, I have to say. Anyway, I've been yammering on long enough. That being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever. I do appreciate you being here, and I'll see all of you for the next Planet Coaster 2 content. Take care, everyone, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.